Have you ever had that just gut sinking feeling after a setback? That little voice in your head that whispers, you failed. Well, today we're going to talk about a completely new way of thinking, one that can turn that awful feeling into a powerful engine for your own growth.
I mean, we all know this feeling, right? This constant pressure, like you're being judged on every single move you make, as if there's some big invisible scoreboard in the sky tallying up a final score at the end of every day, or every project, or even every relationship. And that scoreboard idea, it's so powerful because it's so familiar to us, but what if it's actually holding us back? Let's take a minute and break down why this way of thinking can be so damaging. When you think about it, this mindset turns everything into this high-stakes competition. A job interview, a creative project you're pouring your heart into, even a difficult conversation. It all gets boiled down to either a win or a loss. There's just no room for any nuance, no space for the messy, kind of beautiful process of just trying.
Okay, let's really dive into this contrast. On one hand, you've got the scoreboard mindset. It's all about final judgments, clear win or lose outcomes, and always looking outside yourself for validation. But then, look at the other side. You have the process mindset. This is a totally different game. It's a continuous journey that's focused on learning as you go and reflecting on your own experience. And that shift, that is everything.
So when you're living by that scoreboard, it's pretty much inevitable that you're going to fall into a really painful trap. The trap of what we call failure. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? A setback isn't a final verdict. It's just a plot point in a much longer story. We so often treat our setbacks like they're the last page of the book. But what if they're not? What if they're just a plot twist that's setting you up for something even better? And this is the definition of failure that most of us are working with, right? It's heavy. It's absolute. And honestly, it's paralyzing. It's this idea that if something doesn't work out, it means we are the problem, that we're just not good enough, and that the road ahead is now closed. Wow, that old definition of failure feels heavy, doesn't it? But what if we could just replace it? What if we could swap it out for something lighter, something way more empowering? Let's explore a totally new way to understand our setbacks.
Maybe the word failure itself is part of the problem. So let's just give it a new name. And by renaming it, we can give it a whole new meaning in our lives.
Let's start right here with this new definition. What we call failure, it's not a verdict. It is not a judgment on you as a person. It is simply information. When something doesn't go the way you planned, it's just the world giving you data, and that's data you can use. And this brings us to our new framework, unfinished growth. It's this really radical idea that you are never a finished product. Every single experience, especially the tough ones, is just another step in your development. There's no final score, there's no pass or fail, there's only your continuous, unfinished growth.
Okay, so this all sounds really good in theory, right? But how do we actually put it into practice? How do we take the sting of a setback and turn it into fuel for growth? Let's look at a really simple model you can start using today.
All right, if you remember one thing, let it be this. A setback only becomes a real failure when you walk away from it without asking, okay, what can I learn here? The second you shut down your curiosity, that's when you create failure. But the moment you open it back up, you create growth. Here's a super simple 3-step toolkit you can use. First, just pause. Take a breath. It's okay to feel disappointed or frustrated, but try to separate those emotions from the actual facts of what happened. Second, get curious. Ask that simple question. What is the lesson here for me? And third, move forward with whatever new insight you've gained. That's it. Pause, get curious, and then move forward.
And when you start practicing this, when it becomes a habit, it changes everything. You're no longer living a life full of pass or fail tests. You're just living, you're learning, and you're writing your own incredible, amazing, unfinished story.
And the payoff for this shift? It's immense. You'll find yourself less afraid to try new things because the worst that can happen isn't failure, it's just learning. You'll bounce back faster from setbacks because you'll actually see them as valuable, and you'll become so much kinder to yourself. Your entire life transforms from being a performance into this wonderful lifelong classroom. So I want to leave you with this to think about. Bring to mind a setback you've been carrying around. Can you look at it now through this new lens? Can you see it as just unfinished growth? What lesson was waiting in there for you all along? And what was it preparing you for?